Hi there, it's Nicole here today for Simon Says Stamp with the exclusive limited edition Halloween card kit called Creepy Cute. And it is a fantastic card kit filled with all kinds of great supplies to create not only cards, but little gift packaging. You could use it for scrapbooking, all kinds of things, and my favorite components are the glow-in-the-dark ones. So this card today is going to feature some stamping, masking with stamps, creating an envelope liner, which is what I'm doing here first with one of the Tim Holtz pattern papers in the kit, and the envelope liner die from Simon Says Stamp, as well as the metallic black envelope. I like to slip it inside the envelope, put adhesive only on that top tab portion, fold the envelope tab over to secure that, and there you have a fantastic coordinating envelope liner that matches your cards. I'm going to take components from the Creepy Cute clear stamp set that's included in the kit and kind of line them up in my MISTI. This is going to give me a really good idea of where I want everything to go, what needs to be stamped first, since I'm doing some masking. Very easy masking here. You do have to create complete masks if you want to color or ink all over the background of the image like I'm doing for my card, but it really didn't take that much time. Because the caramel apple and the cat are in the foreground of the card, as well as the spider's not really going to impede anything, I am going to go ahead and mask these, or not mask these, stamp these rather, all at once. So these three items are going to be in the forefront with the jack-o'-lantern kind of sitting back behind both the cat and the caramel apple. I'm going to stamp those images again on some masking paper and then trim out both the cat and the caramel apple. If I was not going to be inking the background and rather just maybe coloring around the images or something like that, a partial mask would have worked. But since I am going to ink over everything, I'm going to need a mask for everything. I did stamp the jack-o'-lantern next after I had the masks for those two images. And then I'm going to create a mask for the jack-o'-lantern, place that right over the top, and I'm going to do all of my inking. I like to do a lot of my inking before I color anything in, just in case I mess it up. That way I haven't wasted all that time coloring and I can start over really easily. I already have masks. Before I do my inking, I did stamp the moon image from Creepy Cute using Versamark ink, and I'm going to use some of the awesome Wow embossing powder. This is glow-in-the-dark embossing powder, and I hate to say skeptical because I was sure it probably worked, but I was like, is it really going to work? I even took this paper into a dark hallway in my basement and looked at it and was thrilled because it really does glow in the dark. Now, I wasn't really quite sure what I wanted to do with the bottom part of the card at this point. I knew I wanted to ink the top portion, so I started by using Distress Oxides because they are a lot more forgiving on regular smooth white cardstock than Distress inks, and I knew I was going to use a pretty heavy hand. So I am using Black Soot Faded Jeans and Wilted Violet and kind of mixing these all up, inking over the embossed image, inking over my masks, and adding all of that color. I will end up inking up the entire bottom portion of this panel with Black Soot Distress Oxide ink, but I'll get to that after I've done my coloring and everything else. I want to have a seamless transition of these colors, one going from one color going to another. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I have this all sponged really good, inked really good, buff off any ink that might be on top of that glow-in-the-dark moon image. And then I'm going to spritz this with water from a distress sprayer just to help with that night sky looking image. The masks are not going to hold up to the water very well, so I went ahead and made sure and blotted that off really quickly so that none of the water would seep through and ruin my stamped images underneath. And then I'm going to peel off my masks. And that's going to reveal my perfectly stamped and masked images underneath, ready to be colored. I'm going to be listing all the colors I'm using for the different elements in this card along the bottom of the screen. The jack-o'-lantern is colored in YR 15, 18, and 27, with a little Y08 and 19 for the insides of the face. So anything that I imagined would be lit up from a candle inside is Y08 and Y19. E55 and E57 are for the stem of the pumpkin. I like to start pretty light with this. This is my favorite color combination for pumpkins or jack-o'-lanterns. However, I think you really have to work up to that color. The YR15 is quite a bit lighter than my darker shades, and I want it to be nice and dark down near the bottom where it appears it's sitting next to the ground. Just adding that yellow there to really make it shine. I want to mention that almost everything I'm using other than tools, which tools can be markers and inks and dyes, come from the kit. So the stamp set, so far I've used the stamp set from the kit and the embossing powder from the kit, as well as one of the 8x8 Tim Holtz pattern papers for the inside of that envelope liner. I will also be using some of the mini glow drops, the paste on eyes, and also some black cardstock. But there are so many other things in this kit. Really, you could create lots and lots of different projects, even scrapbook pages, gift giving type. There's a great little pop-up box. There's some little KRAFT zipper pouch bags. If you have treats you want to give out, this kit really is, you get a lot for the money. It's a fantastic kit. I was so drawn to the cute little stamped images that I knew I wanted to create some sort of a cute card with them. I colored the caramel apple next with E33, 35, and 55 with a little R37 and R59. I probably wouldn't have needed both of those for the little highlight area on that apple that I imagined is poking through the caramel covering. Then the stem is E30 with a little E55 in there. I wanted the witch hat to be a different color than the cat itself, and I knew I wanted the cat to be black. So I'm going with some purple shades that I think complement the night sky really well. They're actually blue shades, but I always think they look a little purpley. They're one of my favorite color combinations, B63, 66, and 69. Work those colors into the hat, and then add a gold buckle with my yellow colors and that band around the top of the hat with some warm grays, which are going to be some of the same warm grays I'm using for the cat. So I'll get to that here in just a second while I color in the cat. W3 is really, really light. We're going to go definitely darker with a little warm gray 7 and warm gray 5 for most of the cat. The warm gray 8 that I have listed here is really going to be for that little shadowing that I just added below all of the images to really ground them so they're not just hanging out there in outer space. So it appears they're sitting on a flat surface. I'm also going to go around some of the images and just add little tiny, very light touches with that warm gray 8, which you will see here in a little bit. That kind of helps the cat stand out, the pumpkin stand out, but especially the cat, where it's so dark against this dark night sky. There were a few places I felt like it blended into the background a little too much, so that dark warm gray is just kind of an outline, but a very, very light, faint outline. This cat is so cute. There is a cat die in the kit that you could die cut a bunch of these cats. I really thought it would be fun to create a whole little border of cats, maybe even out of the pattern papers in the kit to adorn some of the pop-up box or the little zipper pouch bags, different things like that. Just really, really fun. The lighter warm grays are going to be used for the band around the hat because I don't want it to blend into the ears of the cat itself. So it's going to be a little bit lighter with that gold buckle. And I just have a couple finishing things to do for my images. Wink of Stella over the buckle on that hat. There's that dark marker I was talking about, just in a few little places, little outlines to really help make things stand out. I think around that cat's back and tail is where it really shows and really helps. Some little white highlights in a few places on the jack-o'-lantern, on the witch hat, the light up areas of the jack-o'-lantern, and the caramel apple. The caramel apple stick and those light colors I was talking about, and the pumpkin stem. Now, what happened with the spider when I inked over everything is it kind of got lost in the design, which is a bummer. So because of this, I did use my Misty and I put the stamp back in there, lined it up and stamped it again. That's why it's so much darker here. Plus I've inked up the bottom portion of my background with black soot Distress Oxide ink only. I did not spritz it with a distress sprayer. I wanted a definite difference between the top portion of the card and the bottom. On the middle panel, I am going to use a powder tool and take greetings from the Creepy Cute stamp set, line those up and stamp them with Versamark ink and heat emboss with white embossing powder. I think the white embossing powder, maybe in my mind, I was afraid the glow in the dark might not show up and I was afraid of ruining my panel. But I should have known that if I had stamped it before inking, like I did the moon, I could have used the glow in the dark powder and I think that would have been really, really cute. I didn't. And at this point, I was really afraid it would not show up. And I think I'm kind of right, because I am going to take the star from the Creepy Cute stamp set and stamp all over the night sky with the star and sprinkle on that glow in the dark embossing powder, and I don't think it shows up near as good. In the dark photo, which is very hard to get a good photo of, but you will be able to see the glow in the dark elements of this card, the stars don't show up. The moon does, but the stars don't. The Nuvo glow drops do as well. So if I had to do this again, I would have stamped my stars before doing the inking, just like I did the moon. I kind of didn't think about it, and I'm a little bit bummed that I didn't. So definitely stamp those first, ink over them for Embossed Resist. I have adhered my panel, which I did die cut with a Simon Says Stamp Frames die, to a white top fold card base. I have die cut a thin frame with black cardstock from the kit, but I've done this 3 times. I want my frame to really stand out and show up. This is an inlay design as it is right now. I'm adding little drops of glue all the way around my frame so that I can stack my 3 black frames one on top of another. If you don't want that dimension, just keep it with the inlay style. That is perfectly fine. This is one of my favorite dies. I actually used it again just the other day, which reminded me of it, and what inspired me to use it for this card as well, because I absolutely love this little teeny thin frame. It highlights the image without taking away from the whole design. That spider is going to be adorned with some of these adorable little wiggle eyes. I'm going to use a little Ranger Multi-Matte Medium to glue my eyes in place. It's a great matte glue that is going to ensure that my eyes are not going to go anywhere. So it adds a fun little whimsical touch. I always like to start my glue on a scrap piece of paper because I've exploded glue over my projects before. So I'm using the packaging to test out my multi-matte medium. There are those cute little eyes that'll roll around. And then the Nuvo glow drops in Banana Split. The green ones, the apple green ones also glow in the dark, but I only stuck with yellow here. I am in love with these. These are what shows up and glow in the dark so good, which I'll show you again here in a minute. So once these are on your card. This kind of helps with that star look that I was going for, but the stars didn't work out. So this is fantastic if you want to create some fun glow in the dark accents on your cards. These products, the embossing powder and the glow drops, are certainly a really fun way to go. Here is a look at that moon. The stars you can see a little bit, but the glow drops really shine. So very, very fun. Thanks for joining me today for this Halloween card and matching envelope featuring components from the Halloween 2017 Simon Says Stamp Creepy Cute Kit. The supplies I used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more cards featuring Simon Says stamps and dies that you might be interested in. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.